Welcome to Colorful Anime, where we talk about anime from a colorful perspective. I'm your host, Lance, my co-host, Jordan.
Yo.
And we are here to talk about the DC business. It's like the stock market or something. Like every time we talk about it, it's like a million things that happen.
Right, exactly.
And if you don't know by now, and you've been under a rock, because James Gunn, your boy, January 31st, this article was published on Screen Rant, but he said it a few days prior. My man came out with some news. People, actually, our last pod, I was like, I don't know what you're gonna do, James. I don't know what you're gonna do, Saffron. What are we doing? And so there is news, and actually he actually did a like shorter TikTok announcing the titles. I'm not gonna read all of them because I don't care about all of them. I only care about a few. One is Superman Legacy, which is the origin story of Clark, which is actually more true to Superman. Right. It's the actual struggle, like the internal struggle.
And that's the reason that they kicked our boy Henry Cavill out, because they want to do a younger Superman. And
right.
It's a reboot.
Which makes sense.
It's
if this is a big
story,
piece of your universe, which it looks like. There's also the Brave and the Bold, which is going to be the Batman and Robin story.
Oh.
And it's actually going to it's actually going to have Damon in it. So Damon Wayne, his son, is going to be in it as well. The kind of like part of the premise.
It's that Robin, so
which I look forward to. Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, that should be good. Because people have been really flocking towards Supergirl.
Yeah, I feel like the CW. Show, like the
if it went on CW,
I think the CW show was okay. Like I feel like it had moments where it was good, and then it just had other moments where I was like,
"What is happening here?"
I don't know how I feel about this.
Yeah, I agree. Then there's some other things on here. Swamp Thing, which is supposed to. I shouldn't even have mentioned it, but the only reason I mentioned it is because they talked about it like strange. It was really, really going to be. James talked about it like it was really going to be a part of a big part of the community, the universe.
Interesting.
The other thing on here that I do want to mention, or a couple of things on here I want to mention, is hold on, where is it at? The Lanterns.
Okay.
And so this is going to be both the black and the white guys. So Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart.
Yeah, I did hear that, which is dope.
Which is going to be really dope because usually. Or at least
need to bring back Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
I don't think he would come back. Even if they begged him, I don't think he would come back.
No. I think we'll get to it. Paradise Lost, which is the prequel to Wonder Woman, which is supposed to be like a Game of Thrones style kind of. I think I want to say show. I think it's supposed to be a show.
Because when they
say what?
I was gonna say, like, when they make these kind of comparisons and they're just like, oh,
yeah, I don't know why they would.
It's gonna be like this. I'm like, don't do that to yourself.
And also, it won't be. Yeah. So don't say that.
Don't set yourself up like
just
that. Just
say it'll be like
it's gonna be
epic or
it'll be a medieval epic.
Right.
Wonder Woman's origins. Don't say
don't be like, it's like Game of Thrones. But he said it. James said it.
Don't do that, James.
A couple other things on here to mention, or a couple. It's not on here. But the other thing I want to mention is that they are doing. They're doing a movie series on a group of heroes of old that are kind of like what is the Marvel equivalent? It's Marvel equivalent of the Eternals essentially, and they're going to be covering them. They're like, it's going to be I think that's going to be one of those sleepers that are going to be like, oh, we care about this. I think it's called I think it is the Authority.
Okay.
And I think that it's the Authority that explores anti-heroes who have good intentions, while having to go to extremes due to how broken the world is. And so I think that's going to be an interesting pit. Anyways, any of these that you're most excited about?
I'm gonna keep it 100. I don't really care about DC at all.
Yeah.
They lost me a long time ago.
Yeah.
I really haven't cared about a DC project since like the Dark Knight movies.
Yeah.
And part of it is because I've never really been a big DC fan.
Right.
Outside of like Batman. And the other part of it is like DC has just been like banging their head against the wall so much that I'm just like, there's nothing they can do that can make me excited at this point. Like, I feel like I will probably enjoy some of these projects, but I'm not really looking. I'm not
checking for.
I'm not gonna go out of my way to like mark my calendar for any of these things.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm definitely excited for the Superman origin story.
Yeah, that could be dope.
I just only because I feel like Superman has gotten a bad rap for live action for a while. Obviously, we're fans of Henry Cavill, his efforts, but it wasn't his fault. It was kind of like we know now.
Writing.
We know it's the writing. We know it's the studios. Actually, I don't want to say James mentioned it. I like James Gunn because he's like one of those creatives that's too candid. Yeah, like he be saying stuff that you're not supposed to say.
Keep it a buck for
he's
sure.
Like, I mean, it wasn't really our fault. It was like they was trying to push him out. So bro, you're not supposed to say. You ain't signed no NDA or something
right.
But other than that, I think the Brave and the Bold. I've always liked the Batman and his son dynamic.
Sure.
I just watched.
Who is Damien's mom? Is it?
Is it
Ra's al Ghul's daughter, Talia?
Yes.
Yes,
okay. It is, or at least in
the comics.
Yeah, in the comics it is. Okay. I don't think it'll be that.
But I wasn't sure.
Yeah, if it's James Gunn, I don't think it'll be that different from the origin story of him. But other than that, I think only other thing that I'm remotely kind of looking forward to on here might be the Lanterns because it's supposed to be a kind of horror / not horror. It's supposed to be like cop. It's supposed to be like a detective mystery, and it's supposed to have to do with the overall universe or whatever as well. So I think if they could actually get the genre right, then this will be. It seems like what they're trying to do, because I will say this: Marvel has not done this. Marvel has not made a separate genre. Yeah. Only time that they've done it, come close to it, I would say, is like WandaVision.
Yeah, and then the second Doctor Strange.
In the second Doctor Strange, which is we talked about that. But all I have to say is, it looks like all of these properties, all of these releases are supposed to have a different approach, and so not just supposed to be like superhero. Let's get happy. Yeah, he kills. He fights the evil, and maybe he wins.
I think that is my biggest. Like, I appreciate that DC tries to have more gravity in their movies, because, like you said, Marvel's movies are like pretty much the same formula. Like, introduce superhero beats the bad guy, watch rinse repeat.
Right.
And there's not a lot of like gravity to their movies. There's not a lot at stake, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But with the DC movies, like, they try and be dark and gritty, which not all of them succeed.
But even like the Robert Pattinson's back, I think like you said, it was a really good effort at dark and like
the way,
conflicted.
the way that they portrayed the Riddler, was in like that was probably, in my opinion, out of all the Batman movies I've seen, that was one of my favorite Batman villains.
Yeah, I mean, because the last time we saw the Riddler was
was
Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
and I love Jim Carrey. We just watched the Truman Show like the other day. Love Truman Show, but that was he was like scary. It was like it felt
like this Riddler was like. He was a psychopathic serial killer.
Yeah, it remind me. You know what it remind me of? I'm a huge Benedict Cumberbatch Sherlock Holmes fan.
Yes,
and it felt like a villain out of there. And I was like, no, this dude, he's doing this for fun.
So all that to say, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah. Because they're trying to interconnect their universe now. Right. How they try and interconnect these characters. Yeah. Because you'll have, like you said, totally different tones for different projects. Mm-hmm. Like, you'll have like a gritty Batman crime movie, right? And then you'll have like a spy or like a cop thriller kind of Lanterns movie, and then you'll have a Game of Thrones-esque Wonder Woman project, and then you'll have like Superman, the American hero kind of a project, and you're just like, how do you blend those together? Yeah,
And I think, and honestly, that's kind of why I'm happy that they are not rushing to any. Like they're not even mentioning the phrase justice. I haven't heard justice, let alone Justice League. They haven't. James Gunn has not. He said a lot of things in all of his announcements.
Not one team up,
not one group. Nothing rhymes with League. Like I think, but I appreciate it because that's the kind of patience that you see over at Marvel. Right. Like so, although a lot of those things have the same tone that they like. We talked about it last time. We're gonna build up. We're gonna 8 years, 10-year plan. Then Avengers, and you're like, yo, this is. And honestly, I think. I'm all right with that. Like, I'm okay if I'm 40 before I see Justice League.
That's the thing like, is, James Gunn and DC, they have to be okay with the growing process. Like, because they're going from jump. Like, they are at the first Iron Man movie stage right now. Yeah. Like, they are starting from scratch with their universe. Yeah. So they're 20 years behind Marvel right now. And Marvel is, for the last 5-8 years has just been like making money hand over foot, right? Because they put in the quality of it, because they put in 10 years of legwork with all their origin stories, for their Avengers. So you do 5-10 years of your origin projects, your Wonder Womans, your Batmans, your Supermans, your well, hopefully not the Flash, not him, not they.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Not Ezra. You recast Flash. Or you just replace him in the Justice League entirely with somebody else to start. Right, and you give him. He has a really cool origin story. Even how he interacts with Superman and how he interacts with Batman, like throughout the universe. Yeah, the Flash, or at least according to the comics and the animated series. The Flash is definitely one of the dopest DC characters for sure. Just his abilities and then also just his personality.
He's like the Spider-Man of DC, essentially. Kind of like friendly in that way, at least.
Yeah, like he's like kind of like. He's the guy that gets his powers as a kid. He's a teenager, like kind of that happy-go-lucky kind of like is a hero, but doesn't really understand the gravity of his responsibility, until he grows up a little bit. But
I've always liked the animated series because they've always made it seem like a foot race was the most important thing between him and Superman. Like I'm like. Okay, can you beat me? Like that's the biggest. But all I have to say is I think that's going to be needed. But again, that's not in these titles at all. Right. I think it'll be. I mean, I think James Gunn will pull some Marvel moves out of the belt. We'll see some of these characters that we haven't heard anything about. Yeah. We haven't heard anything about Cyborg. We haven't heard anything about a lot of people actually. So, but I can see him teasing these things
for sure. So, and of course they'll use like the credit scenes to introduce characters and introduce new movies that are coming up next or whatever. Of course, take a page out of Marvel's book.
You want to talk about?
Since we kind of touched on it a little bit already, but so supposedly the first movie that's supposed to kick off their entire universe is Ezra Miller's Flash, which is a travesty because that dude is something else. Yeah. I don't know any other person that could get away with kidnapping underage people, transporting them across state lines, which is kidnapping.
It is
kidnapping and kids sex trafficking. Yeah. And minors, and not be buried under the jail. Mm-hmm. Like
they said the reason they decided not to can the movie is because it tested so well amongst audiences. So out of
what audiences?
Well, I'll say this. To be fair, all of those DC movies sucked. Yes, right? True. Outside of Robert Pattinson's Batman, but that's not canon.
That's not part of what they're doing, right?
Right. And so I think if you look at all the original products outside of actually post Dark Knight, they're just losing money. Essentially, they're overspending for money, and they're trying to figure out what to do. And I think the only thing they can do is, I think that they think that the Flash, that Ezra Miller's Flash, is going to be their Iron Man.
Yeah, I think so.
Or their Blade to kick up. It's totally a money grab, capital kind of raising thing.
The problem is that they have based the start of their universe on a person who realistically should be behind bars right now.
Yeah.
And like it's
sure.
it's so wild to me that Ezra Miller is not in prison right now for everything that happened. And continues to happen. Like too. I feel like every time I turn around there's a new news article about this fool. Like and the problem is, and my biggest problem, and I've said this on social media, I will stand by this, if Ezra Miller was black, that nigga would be behind bars.
Oh, that's a fact.
100%.
100%. That's the thing, right?
100%.
Because when the actor who played Cyborg was talking about what's my man's name? I can't even remember his name. Who was foul to all the people in the DC universe, and he was foul to other people too. He's a director or whatever. The guy that replaced Zack Snyder.
Oh,
forget his name. Dang it.
Can't remember his name either.
But anyways, actually I should look it up to be smart. But when
he cut out Cyborg.
Yeah,
all the black folks.
Right. But then
black people in my DC universe, no sir.
He had multiple accusations against him. This guy who I'm trying to look
director?
Up. Josh Whedon.
Oh yeah.
Who he had multiple accusations and Cyborg was one of them. He's like the guy who played Cyborg. And he's like, yo, like this dude is foul.
Yeah.
Like, this dude, y'all got to look into this guy.
Yeah.
And they almost blackballed him.
Yeah.
And so I think to add credence to what you're saying is like when he gets blackballed just for saying what everybody else already knows.
Just for being
everybody
racist,
knows this guy's a scumbag. Everybody knows this guy is like Josh Whedon is a scumbag, that he's foul, that he's doing all sorts of stuff. He's trying to abuse power. But then when Ezra is like
literally kidnapping minors,
then it's like, I mean, but the movie was really good.
All of our target. Yeah, like what is? I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It gotta be. It has to. They really do think that this is their
They
play.
think this is gonna make them like box office like super money.
Yeah.
There's no other way, because I mean they canceled. Look at all the projects that DC has canceled.
Right.
They canceled Batwoman. They canceled what else?
Let me talk about that before we finish too.
They canceled multiple different projects, because they didn't feel like it was a creative direction they wanted to go in, or they thought they would lose money on the project. Like, and you're gonna go forward with an Ezra Miller project. That's what baffles me. Is I'm like, you have a literal criminal as your main hero. As a hero, as a superhero. You have a criminal, a real life criminal as a superhero, and you guys are gonna let that go to theaters? Nah.
Yeah, my thing too is, so they said that Batgirl was so bad.
Yeah, right. Which
is whatever. That's fine. But again,
that's like DC. That's your fault.
Right.
Like, that is your fault.
And also, again, I just think. So I mean, okay, I'm always gonna go back and compare this with Marvel. I'm always gonna go back, and so when I look at like Robert Downey Jr. and his story, and his addictions, he was. I mean, he probably had more headlines than Ezra at the time.
For sure.
Like, he was a mess. But him probably within himself, but also Marvel, it was a concerted effort to say, hey, well, before we do all of this.
Yeah, well, and I think with Robert Downey Jr., the difference too is that Robert Downey Jr. had already gone to therapy.
Yep.
He had already paid. He had already done the time for everything that he had done.
Right, exactly.
He was on the flip side of all the nonsense, all the drugs, all the stupid stuff when he was young. He was already on the other side of it.
Yes.
Ezra Miller is in the thick of it, right? Literally got arrested last year. Got arrested less than 6 months ago.
To the premiere?
I don't even know. So this man,
I'm struggling here.
This person got arrested last year.
Yeah.
And is still headlining this movie.
Yeah.
That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
So I think if they're not careful, because I'm a person that believes that when you start making decisions like this, it's a slippery slope.
It is,
and you continue to make decisions like that, it's going to pop up in other places.
And that's the thing,
well,
like you
for
can't,
DC.
You can't obviously bow down to every single demand that fans make, because fans are ridiculous.
Right. Some of them are,
because everybody has preconceived notions about who they think a superhero should be.
Exactly.
What they should look like, what race they should be. Which specific comic person iteration of that character should be in the movie.
That's the worst. Yeah,
I'm like, oh well, you can't have a black Superman. Like, well, I mean, the black Superman does exist, right, in the comic books. Mm-hmm. So just because it's not your favorite Superman doesn't mean it's not nobody else's favorite Superman. So
right,
you know, it is what it is.
Yes. Well, praying for you, DC.
Yeah, because
it's
not a good look to start.
Yeah, look, I'm excited about some of the stuff going on over there.
I'm not gonna watch Flash.
I'm not gonna watch Flash. I'm just y'all didn't want me to listen to R. Kelly no more. Y'all didn't want me to listen to, and he got the slaps. Y'all didn't want me to listen to. They didn't want me to listen to Michael Jackson no more.
Yeah,
but y'all want me to watch the Flash? Nope. Nope. Pass. Anyways, we'll close here with all that said. Y'all know the slogan: stay colorful. Peace.
Peace.